This video was made possible in part by the gang over on the Go Nintendo Patreon. Thank you so much for your support. You doing that allows me to create content like this, so thank you very much. If you want to learn more about the Patreon, you can check out the link in the description below. Luigi's Mansion launched on the GameCube all the way back in 2001, and somehow we've only gotten one sequel since then. We got Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on the 3DS back in 2013, but now the time has come. We're finally getting another sequel, the third entry in the franchise, called Luigi's Mansion 3. It only took 6 more years for us to get it, but here it is. I'm about to tell you my final thoughts on the game. I will say I am not going to talk about multiplayer because I don't feel like I've had adequate time to really play that stuff, because obviously this is a pre-launch copy of the game, so I haven't had the best settings or opportunities to play as much multiplayer as I would like to give you an honest, open opinion. So I'll save that for a podcast or another video. But today I will be telling you about the single player, my final thoughts, and if you checked out my preview, you pretty much know what I'm going to say. I really like this game. So Luigi's Mansion 1 came out, and people really enjoyed that game. It was a brand new franchise, a brand new experience from Nintendo, and it found a really big audience. The sequel, Dark Moon, came out, and people really enjoyed that as well. But some players were like, you know, I miss the experience of the more sprawling location of the original Luigi's Mansion. Well, Luigi's Mansion 3 tries to combine both of those experiences, give you more freedom than you had in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which was pretty much mission-based and running through the same locations multiple times, and the original Luigi's Mansion, which was, large portions of the mansion open at once. And definitely Luigi's Mansion 3 leans more towards the first game, in my opinion, than the second, which I'm sure many people will be very pleased to hear. One of my favorite things to do in any game is to just explore. I like being let loose and being able to wander around and just see what's going on. And Luigi's Mansion 3 certainly does that. You have to gain access to floors by collecting buttons for the elevator. So you'll be locked off from certain areas, and you'll also get a couple powers along the way that will open up new areas for you. But you're still able to really explore a number of environments at your leisure, which I really like. And it also is good, in my opinion, that it's not like a huge open world game, because I do like exploring in open world games, but sometimes I feel like they're big just for the sake of being big, and I just wander around and I'm like, there's a lot here, but there's not a lot to do, really. And I like that if it adds to the atmosphere of the game, but more often than not, I feel like it doesn't. Luigi's Mansion 3 is certainly bigger than I thought it was going to be, but still, it's a manageable experience. But everywhere you visit, as I said in my preview, is so packed with things to do. So many secrets to uncover, so many coins and dollars and pearls and gems and a whole bunch of things hidden around, little animations and flourishes, just all kinds of secrets, Easter eggs, everything, you name it. So the locations, as in like the floors, aren't like huge by any means. There are certainly some floors that are much bigger than others, but still they really pack in a lot to the environment and give you a ton to do. And it actually takes up a lot of time if you're trying to find every last hidden thing. And I guarantee your first and your second time through certain rooms, you're not going to find everything. It might be because you don't have what you need to find everything, or just because there's things you didn't even think to do when you're passing through a room those couple of times. There's just so much to unpack here, and I really love that. I can't tell you how many times I've run through environments where I was like, yes, I've cleaned out everything, there's nothing left to do here. And then, something happens later on in the game, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize you could do that. And you're like, oh my god, I can move every, flower pot. Like, I can pick those up and smash them. I never even thought to do that. I didn't think you would be able to move them. Things like that keep popping up, and you're like, oh man, there's so many other things to find. So there might be a special hidden collectible that you're looking for, and you just can't find it, and you're like, I don't understand where it could be hidden. Then you learn something new like that, and you're like, oh, now I have more options, and you go back and get to explore some new areas, and it might even open up new portions of rooms that you didn't even know were there. So I just love that stuff. It just the game keeps unfolding upon itself and shows you more and more of its layers, and there's just a ton to do. So yes, there's plenty to do and see, and you're going to be exploring things in new ways thanks to Luigi, which is such a cool addition to Luigi's Mansion. It doesn't feel like a, you know, sometimes you get a game that's got a sequel and it's like, hey, here's the game you love, but now you wear a new costume, or like you get 2 guns instead of 1, you know, something something that you're like, this doesn't really feel all that much different. Throwing Luigi in there really does feel different because it opens up for completely new types of puzzles. And the great thing is, you can solve those puzzles on your own by controlling both Luigi and Luigi. You just, you know, press a certain button and you call out Luigi and you control him, and Luigi like takes a spooky nap kind of. He kind of sits there in like a trance while you're playing as Luigi. And you solve puzzles to turn wheels and turn on faucets and swing across gaps and whatever. Things you need to do in tandem to find a solution to how to get to the next room. Or you can do that co-op with a friend, and they can join in, and you two can play together at the same time. And, you know, that's not a decision you have to make at the beginning of the game. You can do that whenever. So that's great. It really makes for a unique Luigi's Mansion experience, certainly without a doubt. But also, yes, some really fantastic puzzle design. They really put the ability to, I guess, split characters, we'll say, to really good use. And then Luigi has some abilities that Luigi doesn't have, like he can pass through gates and grates and things like that, so he can gain access to areas that Luigi otherwise wouldn't be able to. And again, that will give you access to things you need to progress through the game, but also a whole bunch of hidden content, so that just adds in more to what there is to explore. Another thing that I think is really important for any Luigi's Mansion game to have is personality and charm, really, and Luigi's Mansion 3 has all that as well. It might be the most personality-filled and charming game in the whole franchise, and a lot of that comes through, as it did in other games, with the little animations that Luigi does, and the little bits of story that you get, and the interactions with characters. I'm not allowed to show you cutscenes, otherwise I would show you some fantastic stuff without spoiling story stuff, but there's just a lot of little touches in here that are just really great to see. It just brings the whole adventure to life and gives it some heart. And I think that's what Luigi experiences are about. I don't want to say Mario games where you play as Mario don't have heart, but there's just something to Luigi. He's a different type of character, and that's really played up here. You get to see a different type of character, and his interactions with the ghosts and Egad and Luigi and the Polterpup and all that. You're just, you always look forward to seeing those things, and some pop up during gameplay and some pop up during cutscenes, and are just little snippets that make you smile. There's been a lot said about the ghost battles in Luigi's Mansion 3 because it uses the same core of, you know, use the poltergust to connect with a ghost and pull back on the joystick to capture them, we'll say. But there's also new things in there like the suction cup shot, which you have to use on some enemies because they'll be trying to block you, so you need to pull something away from them. Or other things like during boss fights, you have to use a suction cup to move an enemy where you need them to be, or just open them up for attack in some way. And then there's also the slam attack, where you suck up a ghost and you can slam them into the ground or slam them into other things in the environment to break them, or slam them into other ghosts to take out the ghosts. So yes, it's a very powerful move, and some people are worrying that it's too powerful. Well, I don't know how to address that, because some people are worrying that it's going to make the game too easy. But I've never found Luigi's Mansion games to be difficult, and I found the enjoyment in Luigi's Mansion games to be from the puzzles and the environments more so than like the core ghost battling. I thought ghost battling was a fun idea and broke up the environments and the puzzles and the adventuring that's going on. I do like them, and I do think they're important to the game, but I never found them challenging. And the most challenging you're going to get here are the boss battles, but again, they're not super challenging. They are interesting and well done without a case, but yeah, not anything you're going to be like, oh man, I'm on this for the 20th try and I can't beat it. So does the ghost slam maneuver make the game too easy? I don't know. It is a powerful move, and you can take out multiple ghosts at the same time, so I guess some people are not going to like it, but I can tell you personally, I liked slamming ghosts into other ghosts and breaking things in the environment with ghosts. I just thought it was fun, and the fun is what matters to me most. I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is another fantastic experience, just like Luigi's Mansion 2 and the original were. I like that it goes more towards the original Luigi's Mansion. I think it has some of the best level design. There's such a huge variety in the places you're going to visit. And again, I really do think it's more jammed-packed than any other Luigi's Mansion game. There's a lot to see and do. There's a lot to enjoy. It's a much longer experience than I expected, and it's just fun. That's what matters to me. It's fun. I really don't have anything to complain about. There wasn't anything where I was like, oh man, this really drags me down, or this really annoys me, or this really sets the game back. I had a fun time the whole time. I love the game. It's exactly what I want from a Luigi's Mansion game, because it's more towards 1, and that's what I liked. So if you like Luigi's Mansion 1, and even if you like Luigi's Mansion 2, I really think you'll enjoy Luigi's Mansion 3.